Okay, thank you. Good morning, everyone. How are you today? I thought you only come on Sundays. What happened? Huh? Avoid the heat. Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay. But we have no air conditioning here. So. Okay. It's so hot, it's kind of hard to function, doesn't it? Okay, it sort of takes over constantly. This heat oppresses you. Anyway, does anyone have any questions or anything they'd like to discuss? If not, we can go into the song Enlightenment. Okay. Okay. Okay, let's look into the song Enlightenment then. Okay, we've been discussing the Song Enlightenment composed by Great Master YongHua, who's enlightened, highly respected Chan Master, disciple of the sixth patriarch, and he's a highly respected this work here of his. This is considered to be a classics in Chan teaching. And so he started, we've been talking about this the last couple of times, 2 or 3 times. Have you not seen his English translation, which came from a Chinese? He says, have you noble-hearted people not seen? Okay, and as I need to emphasize this for you. He says that he started by saying, I'm addressing all of you. How come you people have not seen? So it's a reproach that you're supposed to see it, but how come you haven't seen it? What is the matter with you? And furthermore, you're all noble-hearted people. And I stress this, noble-hearted people, meaning that you may not be social status-wise be a nobility, but he's not interested in nobility per se. He's more interested in noble-hearted people. Okay, and so you noble-hearted people are supposed to see this, but you have not seen it. And how come? So reproach right away. So you have to start paying attention. What is he talking about? What am I supposed to see? Okay? And he also says that he understands that for us, normal people, we rely on our senses. And therefore, seeing here is a representative of our sense organs. Have you heard? Have you smelled it? Have you touched it? Have you realized? Okay? That's what jian here in a Chinese, jian here, or seen here in the Buddhist language refers to our sense organs. All of our sense organs, okay, that you depend upon. And that's how you process life, process facts. That's what you depend on for your sanity, for your logic. Okay? And it's not until your senses organs confirm it for you, you will not believe it. Okay? And that's what he's saying. Yes, I realize that for you, it's about being able to see it, being able to perceive it, being able to verify it for your world. Okay, so question is, how come you noble-hearted have not seen? And herein lies the very, very subtle request. What is that? The reason that you noble-hearted people, you have not been able to see what's important to you is because, why not? Because you have not used your noble heart. That's the implication. When you go to your schools, when you get an education, you take a class, people appeal to your smarts, your intellect, yes? To convey knowledge and their insights to you. Here in China world, what are we conveying to you? What are we trying to give you? Wisdom, not knowledge. Oops, did I say something I shouldn't have? You're all here to acquire knowledge and learning, don't you? Aren't you? Well, it's not the case with Chan training. Contrary to popular beliefs, there are plenty of volumes and upon volumes of Chan teaching and Chan concepts out there, whether it's called Thiền in Vietnamese, called Zen in Japanese, or Chan in Chinese, and Thana in Sanskrit and so forth. All of that is not about knowledge at all. Okay? All of that is suggestion for you what you need to do so that you see your noble heart. So that's what he's saying. And this is very important. You see, right off the bat, he says, in order for you to understand what I'm about to tell you, in order for you to open your wisdom, in order for you to achieve what you want, to get what you want, you need to listen to the rest of all this thing I composed. You need to read it with a noble heart. He says, the requirement is for you to use your noble heart to listen to me, to look at these concepts. Questions or comments? This is critical. Don't use your intellect. Listen with your heart. Okay? Not just your heart, but your noble heart. The noble part of your heart. Not the calculating part of your heart. Not the emotional part of your heart. Not the IKEA part of your heart. Okay? It has to be the noble part of your heart. That's the way to go. Same thing. When you have a sick person, a sick patient, why are they sick? Because everything they do, when they talk to you, and you say, I know what your problem came from, your parents. Sounds familiar? Have you been to a therapist, on a therapist's couch? Most of them end up saying, it's from your childhood, from your parents. Yes? Okay. No. It came from their IKEA heart. It's not the parents. The parents are innocent. Whatever the parents did has nothing to do with them. The parents is being the parents, but it's they who chose to interpret that, to register that with their unnoble heart. That's the nature of the problems. Sounds familiar to the rest of you? Keep on blaming your parents, blaming your father, your mother, your sister, and so forth, of your suffering, your disappointments in life, your wife. No, it's because you're using your unnoble heart. And if you do that with the sagely teaching, with these wonderful insights about you, you will not be able to understand this. And that's what happened to me. When I was in my master's temple and he died, and he told all of us that, don't worry, my disciples will teach you, will train you. I don't need to be around. So I said, okay, these are accomplished teachers. I will stick around and learn. So I stuck around for 4 years, okay? And after 4 years, for over 4 years, I left very disappointed under difficult circumstances. But for 4 years, I did not make headway. I made so little progress because I listened and looked at and studied everything, the sagely teaching from Master YongHua, from the Wei-Yang Chan lineage, with an Ikea heart. And no one told me that. It doesn't matter. Does it make sense to you? If it's the Buddha who teaches you or sages teaches you, a really smart person who teaches you, but if you filter it with your unnoble heart, it gets twisted, it gets distorted. Is that clear? So that's what he's asking us. For the rest, as long as you have time to be here, as long as you made the effort to tune in, please do it with your noble heart. Then you get a lot more out of it. Yes, 5.
Master, isn't it true that that's the case with everything in life? It's not the events that are happening or the people, it's the way we see it?
It's the way we react to it. You react with an unnoble heart. We accuse people immediately. We don't give people a chance. Okay? And some of you might say, but they are really not good people. Just because they're not good people, because they're mean people, does not mean that you have to be like them. Just because they're not noble-hearted doesn't mean you have to be like them. They are temporarily Ikea. They are temporarily unnoble because they forgot to use a noble heart. That's all. In Chan, there's a certain teaching, meaning that you can flip just like that. As soon as you realize that you're capable of it, it's called certain teaching. You don't have to grind it out. Okay? So it's the same thing. If evil people, if these Republicans, excuse me, just kidding. These radicals, okay, they're that way because they use their wrong hearts. That's all. And they are capable of flipping just like that. That's why in Buddhism, we never abandon anyone. We never give up on anyone. They can flip instantaneously, just like we can. Here's the quintessential difference between Chan teaching and the others. Okay? Is that the Chan teaching is that you have a noble heart already. You're just not using it. You have wisdom already. You just don't know how to use it. It's nothing new to you at all. You just lost track of it. You're disconnected with that lifetime after lifetime. That's why there's so many layers now between you and your noble heart and your wisdom. And here you all are here in order to learn to wield it again, to reconnect with it, to reactivate it. You, all of you, including me. Okay? So it has started first with you are believing that you are noble-hearted. It's not just me alone who's noble-hearted. I'm serious about this. It's no laughing matter, dear. If you believe I'm noble-hearted, then you should also believe your heart, my heart is no different. You believe my teacher, Master YongHua, is noble-hearted, and he really is. I really believe that, okay? And then, so is yours. Your heart is just as noble. And that's the secret in life, is that you are stopping yourself. You are looking down upon yourself. And it takes Daniel's boss to remind people like him, say, you are not as good as I am. I'm more noble-hearted than you are. It's not so true. It's so untrue. The truth of the matter is that we are all noble-hearted. Not just the Maya princess is noble-hearted because she's a princess. No, we all are noble-hearted. Not because we are adults and therefore we're more noble-hearted than the little girl there or little boy there. No, they're just as noble-hearted as we are. There's no difference between us. We have the same makeup. Okay? Sounds good? Why do I sound like a preacher? Under a tent. Okay? Now, the second part, so he just said, shame on you. How come you don't use your noble-hearted? Okay? To see. You're supposed to see what? Who? People whose study has ended, who do nothing, who abide in the way at ease. What is he saying? You have not seen these people because every time you get on TikTok, you look on social media, what are you looking for? Who do you subscribe to? Those influencers. Yes? Yesterday I got on Yahoo News, just for the heck of it, and I happened to look at a certain lady who's an influencer in golf. 40 photos of her. You want to know her name? I forgot her name already. I only remember the photos. Okay? It's because we are drawn to things that are superficial. And we don't pay attention, we don't notice the people who study have ended, who do nothing, who abide in a way at ease. Okay? Do I have more on this? Okay. I should have more commentaries on this because I don't know how far I'm supposed to push these things. So we are supposed to pay attention. We're supposed to have noticed these people who study has ended, who do nothing, who abide in a way at ease. Okay, let's go into this. Why are these people special? Okay, we pay attention. We should have seen such special people with our noble hearts. Okay, if you're really noble-hearted, you're supposed to have been able to see such people. Yes? What are these people? Whose study has ended. This is a Buddhist concept. Okay, that is, they call it, the Buddha called the 觉学 or 无学, okay, in Chinese, meaning the people who have no more learning, who doesn't need to study anymore. What is he referring to? The people who have ended their studies, who have no more studies at all, okay? What studies do Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and the sages referring to? Anyone? Is this a degree in engineering? Is it computer engineering, cryptocurrency investment, real estate, certificate deposits? I took a course in that long time ago. After I saw that Vietnamese real estate agent on a boat with a lot of his models. So I took the course too. So what are we supposed to study? And these people have graduated, they don't have to study anymore? What have they completed? Which coursework is that? Yes, Daniel. Don't tell me it's Bible study on Sunday mornings at your church.
The study had to end birth and death.
That's not a Catholic concept. It's unfair. You're stealing from us. Stop it. Okay, anyone else? What are we supposed to study and have graduated already with our noble heart? It's so important. Oh my God, you don't even know this. Then, how old are you? Yes, 8.
Master, is it how to become a Buddha?
Become a Buddha? No, not even that. That's wishful thinking. You don't deserve it. That's not, get carried away. Anyone else? What are you supposed to study? Because just before you send your children to school and send them to summer camps and spend a lot of money, okay, you better know what's important for them as well. Just because your life has been wasted and you're so unnoble right now, doesn't mean you should do the same for your children. Yes, 6.
Thank you, Master. How to help other people they gonna learn?
Help other people?
Yeah.
No, that's too Korean. No. 5.
Thank you, Master. They studied and accomplished putting an end to their ego.
And their ego. Yes, back there. 9, sir.
What we should do is to understand how the world functions and how we fit into it.
Oh my God. So worldly. No. The study of the ego. Notice, when your parents send us to school to study anything and everything, okay, except our ego. True or not? Huh? Because we're told studying the ego doesn't pay. Right? The ego should be worshipped. It's not supposed to be studied. The ego is supposed to be indulged, not studied. Yes? The ego is special. You're not supposed to study it. Okay? So, noble-hearted people, when they study the ego and thoroughly understand the ego, okay, what happens to them? What happens? Daniel, what happens to such people? Obvious answer. You know immediately, as soon as I ask you, you know the answer already. Six.
I don't know.
He don't know. Well, Thailand used to say, she don't know. Not funny. In Chinese language, there's no differentiation between he or she, so they get confused all the time. Anyway, it's just a language issue. 7.
From sauces, noble-hearted people.
Sausage?
Sauces.
Sausage. Did I hear right? Like hot dog and sausage.
Sauces.
I know I heard that moniker already, but I didn't dare question it until today because I heard sausage.
Sauces. Sauces.
Sauces, like
Ketchup.
I would not call ketchup sauces. Okay, we're not going to comment on cooking today. Yes, sauces. Is that a she or a he?
From sauces. Noble-hearted people who study the ego, do they stop making money?
Oh, they make more money when they wish. Is that what worries you? When you understand your ego, then you can't make money anymore? No. When you understand your ego, this is what happens. You become so dangerous. Because once you understand your ego, you can easily manipulate other people's ego. See that lady there? The specialist in manipulating people's ego agrees. She makes a living manipulating people's egos, parsing out what works and what doesn't work for the people's egos, the patient's egos. Okay, so she's an expert. Okay, once you understand your ego, then you can figure out people so easily, and you can make so much money if you want to. You can marry them, you can con them, you can schmooze them, you can do all sorts of things to people. Is that clear? Okay, so contrary to proper belief, okay, when you put an end to your ego, when you have understood your ego, meaning that the ego is under control, then you become either you can become a real asset to society, or you become a real menace to society. It's your choice. Okay? This is how we see it. This is how historically it has happened. Okay? The people who are egotistical, they can do a lot of good, but at times they can do a lot of bad as well. Okay? You cannot tell, for example, the last president, you cannot claim the last guy who is president of the United States is totally evil. He has some ideals himself. Okay? But when his ego comes to the fore, it's nothing, no evil he's not unwilling to do. The ego is capable of such harm or such good. Okay? If you recognize it, you can do good or evil at will. When you don't recognize it, the ego controls you. Okay? Yes, Daniel.
So the question would be, how do you control your ego?
No, how to understand your ego. If you understand the ego cannot manipulate you anymore. You are the boss now, not your ego. Here's what happened to ordinary people. Ordinary people don't realize that it's the ego who is in charge, not the thinking mind. Sounds familiar? You think you can figure things out? Everything is logical to you, for example? Yes? When you ask, why did you decide on that? Why did you do that? I said, well, I thought about it, and makes sense to me. This is the most logical thing for me to do. Sounds familiar? Yes, this is how you explain to your husband or wife. You explain to your boss. Explain to your children. To explain to everyone. Right? Okay. Now, what is that exactly? What are they saying? They're selling to us. They're justifying themselves, that's all. But in truth, what really happened for most of us is that when we make up our mind, okay, more than 50% of the time is emotional decisions. We only use our logic to justify after, not before. That's the nature of the ego. Why? You disagree? Seriously? I just revealed to you how your ego functions. And you say, no, that's not me. I'm better than that. No, you're not. Daniel, who believes in emotions. 2.
My question is, how do you understand the ego? How do you say, I want to understand ego for I to...
One thing at a time. You agree with my assertion. That is, we claim to be logical animals, but actually our decision-making is mostly emotional. It's something that man has a hard time admitting, that our decisions are very emotional. Look, that's how we got married. Guys, and then we regret later because, why did I think about these issues? Sounds familiar? Daniel, stay out of it. You don't know what we're talking about. Okay? Yeah. Questions or comments? When you can figure out your own ego, then you have the beginning of wisdom. your ego can no longer manipulate you. And you can see other people's ego manipulating them and others, but they cannot manipulate you anymore. And that is called wisdom. Then you can do anything you want. You can do anything that's important to you. Okay? Because then you decide what's important to you, not your ego, or not your mother's ego, or not your daddy's ego, or your teacher's ego. Someone else's ego tells you what's important. You decide what's important for yourself. That's called wisdom. Have you noticed? I don't know about you. I grew up and all of a sudden I said, I want to become rich. It wasn't me. So I had to be successful. So I spent half of my life trying to be successful, trying to make money, trying to have all these things. Because this is what everyone else was doing. That's what you ask them and say, that's what I'm supposed to do. This is what the meaning of success is, the meaning of life. It's always someone else's ideas that we picked up from. And we follow it, spend our lives pursuing it. At the end of our lives, then you find out, what the heck happened? I'm divorced 4 times. 4 times losers. Huh? My body's riddled with sicknesses that are incurable. So that's what happens to us. Until you figure out your ego, okay, you have to do what others' egos tell you. This is our dilemmas. So these people have ended the study of the egos, meaning they have figured out their ego, and therefore they are in full control of their lives and their decision making. Yes, they're still emotional when they choose to be emotional, and they can be very rational when they need to be rational, but it's no longer dictated by their ego, but it's by a conscious decision from a position of wisdom. Questions or comments? Okay. Yes, 7. 9. Sounds German.
I just wanted to comment. Something's happened with me over the years, fairly recently here. I find now that if I can feel anger rising or some kind of conflict, or I'm going to be in an argument or make a sharp comment or just act annoyed, I automatically pause now, and as I pause, it seems mentally I back away from engagement, and I realize in my mind, now's the time to be quiet. Don't say anything.
Very good.
That's, with my spouse, I don't know if she would actually agree with me, but it seems, at least in my mind now, many times I alleviate any kind of a tiff just by backing away and just realizing I just need to be quiet.
Very good. It happens because, first of all, when you practice Chan, it naturally reduces your anger. Its intensity of your anger and the frequency of anger. Yes or no? That's what I experienced. Throughout my Chan career, my Chan practice, I became less angry and less angry, less angry. If anger is an issue with you, you don't need anger management. You need Chan. You don't need to go see a therapist. You need Chan. Seriously. Okay? Why? Because you practice Chan, you keep up your Chan practice, it naturally neutralizes your anger. That's what happens to number 9. Okay? I didn't realize number 9 was such an angry person, so we will not bring up his name. Okay? Angry, angry, angry. Okay? Shame on you. So, but it's fascinating. So number 1, Chan practice is an antidote to anger. Okay? And if I'm a therapist, I see an angry patient, I would make sure I would teach them about Chan. Okay? Because it's a long-term solution to it, natural antidote. Okay, and that's what the therapists are discovering. Whatever you teach, mindfulness, meditation, or weird meditation, it doesn't matter. Stand on the feet meditation, or what is that woman who stand on one foot? Oh God, it looks so weird. Okay, that works. Okay, but Chan is the most powerful way to control your anger, to quell it. Okay, now, so that's what number 9 experience. The more you practice Chan, the more your anger, the less frequent it is and less intense it is. And number 2, he's been improving. So therefore, as you improve to the next level, okay, and then it further reduces the anger. So naturally, as you make progress, okay, the anger is lessened and the ego shrinks. That's how we practice Chan. The Chan is a study of the ego. If you sit there, what are you supposed to do? Don't fall asleep. You're not supposed to fall asleep. Okay? Some of you are giggling. Yeah, shame on you. Okay? Time is of the essence. When you sit there in Chan, don't fall asleep, because you sit in Chan, you practice Chan, you actually see what happens. When you sit there still, what happens? Your ego squirms. The ego doesn't like it. It says, hey, you're trying to control me. Are you such a control freak, really? Sounds familiar? Your ego says, oh, I didn't realize you're such a control freak. You're trying to control me. No, the ego is the one who loses control. That's why he's complaining. That's what happens. You sit there, and that one there says, I'm so bored. I don't know what to do. This is taking too long. This is so boring. Who's speaking? The ego. Who else? Her ego is so big. Every time she crosses her leg, oh, this is so boring. I don't like this. Okay? That's how you recognize your ego at work. And guess what? The people who don't practice Chan, they said, oh, meditation is boring. I knew it. I always knew meditation is boring. And they don't even realize it's the ego manipulating them. That's all. And then one day they said, oh, I like meditation. Because ego says, oh, I'm bored today, so let's do something else. That's like meditation for a change. 5-10 minutes. What harm is there? You see, ego, nature ego is, it can't make up its mind. It's wishy-washy. Huh? Like your boyfriend, I love you to death. And then, why are you so ugly? Sounds familiar, guys? No. It's our secrets. Okay? You understand? So the ego, the girls go, ooh, 7.
From Daniel Wisniewski, so is ego basically like a demon possession?
No, ego is the best part we have. It's our best friend. It's your girlfriend's amour. Yes.
And the ego is here because we're within the ecosystem?
No, the ego is here because it has a right to be here, just like you have the right to be here. So does your ego. Yes, Danielle.
Is it possible to end all kinds of ego, or it's just part of you?
No, you can put an end to it. Once you understand how your ego functions, then you have ended your study. It can no longer manipulate you. Such fundamental knowledge. Okay? Yes, continue.
And I was wondering, you have been able to end your ego and how you did it.
If I were able to end my ego,
Yeah.
you think I'd be here talking to you losers? I will say, bow to me, for I'm better than your God. Believe. Anything else? I'm calm. Okay. So once you have figured out your ego, then it's called your study has ended. By the way, folks, this is the first time I explained to you that way, because all the Buddhist teachings from China, from India, never explain it this way at all. They always said, oh, you're supposed to have ended all studies, but never explained to us what we're supposed to study. It's not Buddhism, it's not Catholicism, it's not the Quran, it's not science, it's not engineering, whatever, it's not medical knowledge, it is your ego. According to me, my ego. What happened to that sign again? Please, control yourself. Control your ego. Okay? You see that? Isn't it fascinating? This is called Buddhist wisdom. And if you figure out your ego, it's nothing you cannot study, by the way. It's nothing you cannot do. That is why, once you got there, what happens? What happens when you finish and you figure out your ego, and you finish your study ego, what happens? It's nothing you cannot do. So what do you do then? Nothing. He said, make money? Yeah, I can do that. Be successful? I can do that. I can figure it out. If you can figure out the ego, then there's nothing that you cannot figure out. Okay? So what do you do then? Nothing, meaning what? Two things. Why you do nothing? Maybe three. 4? Okay. Why do you do nothing? Okay. Therapist.
If you no longer have the ego dictating your decisions, what you say and do, and how you behave, you're free to just respond to what needs to be responded to in the moment.
So you do nothing until you do something you must do. Is that what your point? Why can't you say that? You have to say such long sentences to buy, to waste time, make more money. Is that how you guys work? And I know how your ego works now. Yes, 5.
It's habit energy, Master. I explain things all day long in my work.
Very good. Okay. See, our ego needs to be talked to. Okay, and that's fine. Okay. So you do nothing because you wait until something must be done. That's called conserving energy. Yes? Because here's what happens. Normally, don't you feel you must do something? Anyone? Yeah, that woman right there. I must do something. You feel compelled to do something because you're afraid to waste time, you're afraid of this, you're afraid of that, miss out on opportunities and so forth. Whereas, so you're chasing your tail all day. Whereas when you have wisdom, you only do things that are necessary. You only fix problems that need to be fixed because the world has so many problems. You cannot fix them all. You don't even have enough time to fix them all. Okay? So you only fix things that need to be fixed. Yes, in the back. Or were you stretching?
Master, does it mean that they become a block of wood, like they don't do anything?
Not at all. I'm coming to that. Okay? So you're talking about conservation of energy. You don't do things until there's a reason, compelling reason for you to do. Versus you right now, it's just keeping busy. Yes? Get busy, get busy, get busy. Sounds familiar? You must do something. Life is too short. Must do something. Enjoy yourself. Go play. Go work. Go make money. Do something. Okay? But these people who have wisdom, they said, I will only do it because it needs to be done. So you have the wisdom to conserve your energy until you do it on something important is the implication. You don't simply keep busy. You do because when it's important. It's so critical for you to do it. So this is what happens. Normal people, they chase after their tails. They keep themselves busy, 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 busy. The people who have wisdom, because the wisdom comes from having recognized their ego, they said, now I can afford to conserve my energy, and instead of being busy like the rest of them, I will only focus my energy on doing things that matters more to them. That's how I help. So, are they dead? No, they're not. They're just like us. They function just like us. We cannot tell the difference, except that what they do is important. What we do isn't. What they do is important to us. To most of us. What we do is only important to us alone, at the expense of everyone else. That's what we do. Okay? So you do nothing because they have the clarity of mind to be able to do nothing until it must be resolved. Is that clear? Does it mean they have no more emotions? That was the question that was not directly answered. Is it? If your wife matters to you, anyone? Very good. Brownie points. Okay, you're learning. Very good. See, she approves. She's shaking her legs. Yeah. Okay? If your wife matters to you, okay? And what's a good way to communicate with your wife besides buying her a washer and dryer or a new car? Wives, help me out. Huh? Emotions. The emotions need to be fulfilled. Yes or no? Yeah? Girl? Young girl? Huh? If you men fail to address the emotions, you ask for it. And Jim said, seriously? And my wife is a therapist and she's emotional? You bet. Therapists are even more emotional than you think. Because after seeing all the pain and suffering in the patients, you become more emotional. Not less. See that? Okay. Does it answer your question? So when you need to be emotional, remember, they do nothing until there's a need to be done. And therefore, if you need to connect with your wives, okay, then you need to connect at the emotional level. That's when they become emotional, not before. See, we are emotional constantly. I like you. I love you. Oh, I'm so excited to see you. And you get so excited constantly. Okay? And you cannot help yourself. Whereas these people, they're as cool as cucumbers until it's, oh, I love you. And all the intensity comes out. That's emotions for you. Meaning they're more emotional than us. They're more emotional than we are normally. Because when they express their emotions, it's more intense than ours. And that's all they want. That's all the wives ask for. Love me and mean it. The rest of the time, leave me alone. Let me go shopping. Does it sound sexist? It's true? True or not? Women are not cooperating today. Yes, Daniel. You're not married. Why do you raise your hand?
I feel like I am. My my question.
You're a terrible
is,
liar. When you say that, you should mean it. be more emotional. We say, I think I am. Yes.
My question is, what stage level do people are able to address their ego?
Fourth stage Arhat. The fourth stage Arhat figure out the egos. That's why the egos can no longer manipulate them at all. They recognize how the egos function. We don't. That's why we're confused. Okay? And finally, can I give me a few more minutes? And therefore, when they have figured out the ego, meaning studies ended, who do nothing, meaning they wait patiently, okay? They patiently wait until they must do something, okay? And they can abide in a way at ease. They can abide in a way at ease, meaning forget about abide in a way, but they are at ease. They're no longer pressed. Okay? They no longer have stress, if that matters to you. Anyone? You stressed out? When you're stressed out, you're under stress, you don't feel at ease, do you? At ease here means stress-free existence. Sounds good? The husband might be screaming at you, but you're still at ease. Isn't that wonderful? Sometimes, whenever you wish. Okay? And by in a way is they can be themselves. They can be in a state of wisdom. In the way, abide in a way means that your wisdom is functioning. You're not being influenced by your ego. That's what is meant by abiding in a way at ease. No worries, no stress, no afflictions. Okay? And there are amongst us. It's not like these are strange animals hide among the mountains. They're among us. They just function just like us. They look just like us. There's such people, plenty of such people around. That's my proof. Okay? So, question, have you not seen? Have you, noble-hearted people, not seen such people? Okay? And you haven't seen such people because your heart is not noble enough. Therefore, you cannot recognize the nobleness in their hearts. That's why you can't see them. These people are very noble-hearted, more than us. They're wonderful people. They're beautiful people. They're remarkable people. Okay? Thank you, everyone, and continue next time.